So today we're going to talk about the Inreach Mini. Basically, we're going to talk about these satellite communicators. I mean, you can find a million YouTubes on how to use them, and I suggest you learn how to use it. I've run into people carrying them that don't know the first thing about them. I don't know why they even carry it. But it's really pretty cheap insurance. And I have to admit that I've only been carrying one a couple of years. My wife always wanted me to get one of these things, and I'd always read, a helicopter ride cost you about 25 grand. So I would tell her, I come home with a $25,000 bill, you're going to kill me. Why don't I just die peacefully up on the mountain or in the desert or on the river? And then I got to thinking, I'm old. Maybe Medicare will pick up the bill. And sure enough, if they can't come and get you on wheels, they got to fly in and get you. So now I'm all in. But, in the past, every state's different. I know when I did the Continental Divide Trail in '99, as soon as I hit Colorado at a convenience store, they were selling for $1 rescue insurance. Well, sure, I'll take that deal any day. And I think Colorado Rescue is free, but you can buy a little passport thing for, I think it's $3 now. I would do that anytime I'm in Colorado, not for me, just for a donation for them. I see people in Arizona. I spend a lot of time in the superstitions, and they're pulling people off a very popular day hike called the Flatiron all the time. And so I don't know if that's free or not, but if not, they're making a bunch of money because I think they're hauling somebody off every couple of days up there. They get up there and then they're afraid to come down. So anyway, these things, they work very well. I use it. I buy the cheapest plan they have, which is $15 a month. It gives me three unlimited preset messages, so I can communicate with my wife every day. Sleeping here tonight is one. During the day, I can check in as many times as I want, just checking in. And when she gets that email, it gives her a GPS coordinate and a map pops up and it tells her exactly on the planet where I'm at. But it's a two-way thing. So even though, if you get a bigger plan, you can get more messages. I get 10 messages a month. And we always use those up. But, if you have to use more, it's maybe 50 cents a piece, whatever. And that way I know she can communicate with me. And I don't worry about me in the backcountry. I just want to know that she's okay in the front country. And I'll tell you, I wasn't carrying this in 2017 in my first attempt to hike the PCT, which I only got about 200 miles. And so I'll tell you how this could have come in very handy for me at that time. So I left March 15th trying to beat the herd. I know that southern Colorado has snow at elevation, and I'm kind of an optimist, thinking even though it was a bad snow year, I'm not going to run into any snow. And so I get to Paradise Cafe, which is about 160 miles up the trail. And part of my eating plan is every time I come to an eatery, I eat like a pig. And when I come to a water source, I camel up. And so the Paradise Cafe was definitely a stop for me. It was, it's a mile walk off the trail. So then I start up and I get, maybe 10, 12 miles up the trail, and the Forest Service has the PCT shut down because of a fire in 2014. And they want you to drop back off the mountain after climbing all morning and road walk to Idlewild. And I hate road walking. And I thought, well, why is this closed? The fire was in 2014. They must mean there's a lot of deadfall and probably a lot of poodle bush, which is, like poison ivy, and I've never had a poison ivy problem, so I thought, well, probably poodle brush won't bother me either, and I can climb under trees. I'm always doing that. So I did something really stupid. I just kept going, and I hit snow around a place called Apache Pass, and it's very steep. It was really hard, icy, and I had spikes, and I put spikes on, but I didn't have an ice axe. You know, it'd been 97 degrees walking through the desert. I didn't think I was going to need it yet, so I didn't have it. I was using my poles and kicking steps in with my spikes, and I was doing pretty well until one of my poles, aluminum hiking poles, I leaned on it too hard, bent it, broke it, and it went down, and I went down with it, and the next thing I know, I'm sliding and I'm accelerating. The only thing that saved me was I was bouncing off trees and rocks, and that would slow me down, and I was trying to anticipate them so I could grab a hold of them, but I was just moving too fast to keep a good purchase of a tree or a rock. They say not to, you know, and I'm aware of this, but you're thinking at Mach 4, and you're moving at Mach 8, and so I had my legs up knowing I shouldn't put my spikes down, but I'm out of option here, boys, so I put my spikes down. It did just exactly what they say it does. It flipped me. Now I'm sliding like Superman, but I can see what's coming. And 600, 1,000 feet, I don't know how I was down a long way, but the next set of rocks was my last chance, and then it was a long way to the basement for there. So I just took it right in the face. I just grabbed that thing, broke my glasses, tore up my face, took all the skin off my arm, flipped me over that rock, and I would have kept going, except there were a few more small rocks there that I ended up laying on my back in, and I was stopped, and I was happy. But the first thing you do is start moving all your body parts to see what doesn't move, and for me, everything moved. My glasses were broken. I laid there for a while. But if I had broken something or really been hurt, I didn't have one of these. It would have been as easy as flipping this thing on, hitting this SOS button. You can even communicate through your phone with these things. You can type on this thing, but it'll take you forever, one letter at a time. But, you know, Bluetooth it to your phone. If everything's working and you're able to communicate, you don't have broken arms or something. Anyway, I was sure wishing I had this that day, but now my chore is to climb back up that mountain without sliding down again. And what I ended up doing was getting my dig tool. I talked about that in another video, these little cat hole diggers that, you know, are round and fit on a water bottle. They don't dig much, but this dig tool that I have, this titanium thing, it made steps, and I didn't care if it took me a week to get out of there. I was not sliding again. Now I'm laser focused on getting back to the trail. So much snow, you really don't know where the trail is, and so having something like Gut Hook, I was glad to have Gut Hook, because I really couldn't get right back up to the trail. It was so slippery. I had to move forward because it was even further back. I'd been kicking in steps for hours, and so I was trying to get to Devil's Slide, and it was harrowing. I didn't get in till dark and got patched up, and I did keep going until Big Bear, but I just hit snow again, and I was done. I thought, you know what, this is not smart. And anyway, you know, a couple days behind me was a kid, an Irish kid, David O'Sullivan. They haven't found him yet. I'm assuming, they say, and what I've read, that he didn't have Gut Hook. And so he got to Idlewild. He probably road walked to Idlewild, but if he went up Devil's Slide and got up into that snow and didn't have Gut Hook, there's just no way you knew where that trail was. You were going to get disoriented really quick. And unfortunately, if that's what his case was and that's where he's at, they've done extensive searches for him, but if he was hurt, this is the thing to have. There's just no question how valuable this little piece of equipment is when you need it. 2020, fast forward to 2020, Trevor Lair, I think was his name, a young guy, experienced hiker, not a lot of experience in snow, but he went down there, and they say he fell about 600 feet and he died. And now I know his dad is very active in trying to get spikes on people, but spikes are not the answer. I had spikes, and spikes work to a degree, but you need an ice axe. Take an ice axe early. Just take my word for it. And take one of these. So besides the SOS, rescue option with these things and keeping in touch with your loved ones at home, the other thing is it came in very handy for me on several trails, but I remember on the PCT, someplace in Northern California, I ripped out my pants. I think it was coming into Mammoth, so between Kennedy Meadows and Mammoth. And I'd already used all my needle and thread up repairing my pack, where some little FRB chewed it one night. R standing for rat. Use your imagination for the F and the B. Anyway, so all I had was, and you've probably heard this little hack before. If you haven't, you can use dental floss as thread. It's very strong. And so that's all I had. So I sewed up the ass end of my pants with those things. But dental floss is white. My pants were green. And so it looked like maybe I had worms. So I was able to, before my wife sent me my resupply box to Mammoth, I was able to have her throw in a new pair of pants for me. And the same thing with shoelaces. I had something chew on my shoelaces one night, and you don't think, now I carry extra shoelaces, and I carry extra thread. Again, experience will tell you what to carry, what not to carry, but you wouldn't think shoelaces would be a big deal, but actually it started giving me foot trouble because I had knotted those things up so much to try to make them work to get me in, but they just weren't tied right. They weren't tight enough, and I was starting to have foot problems on that particular foot, and it was because I didn't have good laces in it. So anyway, communication. This is not just for saving your life, but you can use it for communicating with your needs at home. Again, making sure everything's good at home so you can enjoy your hiking without worrying about people at home, and gives them peace of mind what's going on with you out on the trail. So give it some thought. Keep smiling.